What is up and welcome to an end of the year edition of Worth a Watch with me, Anthony Flores. This is going to be my most disappointing movies of 2014. It's going to be a little bit different in terms of disappointing movies. For those of you who have only been subscribed to me a short amount of time, I don't just say movies like Transformers 4 or Ouija or Annabelle are just awful movies. I'm not here to bitch about the movies that are just flat out obviously awful. I'm going to talk about some movies that either had some possible potential or movies that I actually anticipated and they let me down so terribly. Or they were just so frustrating that they turned out to be the terrible movies that they ended up being. So my list is a little bit different compared to a handful of people here or there. So yeah, just a slight difference on my list here. And I've only got 5, mainly because I have not gone out of my way to make myself feel like shit. Nobody wants to leave the movie theater feeling depressed or frustrated because a movie was so awful. I'm not going to put myself through that sometimes. And I unfortunately do not have the money to blow and waste or the time to waste for a screening. Between my job and just life, I want to see movies that make me happy and enjoy myself in the theater. So, anyways, here we go. A few dishonorable mentions before we begin. Paranormal Activity, the marked ones. Aside from an awesome scene with witches getting blown away by rifles, that's pretty much it. Let's Be Cops. Should have been a TV episode of New Girl, considering you had the two of the main leads from the show. Right along, Kevin Hart screaming, "Oh my God, oh my God." Blah, 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 blah. That's pretty much it. And Ice Cube just being badass. That's about it. Nothing original there. And Cowabunga Dude's Michael Bay's Mutant Ninja Turtles. That guy just needs to stay away. Stay far away from our childhood. No, I'm just joking. It wasn't as bad, but hence why it's only on dishonorable mentions. I actually enjoyed it a little bit more than I thought I would because the turtles were awesome. But that's about it. Everything else just fucking blowed. Of course, Megan Fox. Jesus Christ. And we move on to the frustration. Number 5, Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit. This movie starring Chris Pine, Keira Knightley, and Kenneth Branagh. Oh, nobody needed to be involved in this movie, but they were, and it's unfortunate that it was such a bland film. I had some expectation, but considering it was a January movie, we all know what that means. Grade A bullshit. Yeah, it was just awful in the most bland ways. I barely even remember to put it on my list. That's how bland it was. Number 4, A Haunted House 2. Marlon Wayans, why do you do this to yourself? You started off so great, man. You really did. A Haunted House was a hilarious return to form for him and his crew that still make these kind of movies. I thought the first one was hilarious. Nick Swartzen, Cedric the Entertainer, even Essence Atkins, the actress who plays his wife in the film, or girlfriend. All very funny and hilarious to watch, but in this movie, with the exception of Marlon Wayans and Gabriel Iglesias having a few moments to shine, there is just nothing redeeming about this movie. It's just a cash grab. There was nothing remotely fresh compared to the first one. This just copied and pasted a bunch of BS that's come out in the last 2 years. It's just disappointing. It really is. Number 3. Once you fuck with the original, odds are you'll end up the way of Total Recall and its remake. Nobody remembers the remake. Everybody remembers the classic Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. In this case, Peter Weller will never be replaced. And, of course, I'm talking here of RoboCop. Peter Weller is arguably one of the most underrated, I think, veteran actors out there. And his role as of Murphy / RoboCop was one of his defining career moments. And even the sequel was not too bad. The third one, though, Jesus, no. But this is going to be forgotten very quickly. With the exception of Michael Keaton and Joel Kinnaman in the lead role of RoboCop, they tried. They really did look like they tried, but it was just so bland of a script. And the direction wasn't too awful, and the visual effects were decent, but it's just such a bland, boring remake. There was just hardly any heartfelt moments in here, with the exception of one scene to me. Michael Keaton, luckily, at least has Birdman to define just how good of an actor he still is, and this movie didn't do him any favors, but when you have a shit script, what else can you do? It's a very boring, bleh remake in the vein of the Total Recall remake. We'll just put it that way. Number 2, Deliver Us from Evil. I had no expectations because I was kind of just forced to see this. We didn't have a choice. We just wanted to see a movie. Some of my buddies of mine. It sucked. It really did. Exorcism movies, there's a dime a dozen. They're very rarely done well. Unlike the original movie, The Exorcist, it just pales in comparison to a lot of these horror films. It just baffles me. This was so boring. This was so unscary, if that's a word. I wish it was better. I wish some of the people involved were pretty decent. Eric Bana, Joel McHale, pretty solid actors. I love Joel McHale in Community, and that's what he was trying to be, the comedic efforts. Tried to pull through with the comedic efforts, but they failed. Eric Bana, wasted, just wasted in this movie. But nothing pales into comparison. Oh, God. Number one on my list is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Aside from some pretty awesome actors, a decent director, and some pretty decent special effects, you have all that in your disposal, and what does your company do? Just fuck it up. Sony, for future reference, get your grubby little hands out of Spider-Man right now. You're just destroying it. You're imploding it. You had plans for big things for Spider-Man, but now look what you've done. I know nobody from Sony will ever see this video, but I'll just say this. The first one was nothing more than a rehash. I'm assuming because of Sony as well, but the script was not that great to begin with in the original. This one was also very bland, very by the numbers, and again, I don't know if it's more of Sony pushing the writers to write this crap, but it was so uneven, so out of place in a lot of situations that happened in this movie. Very rushed, very forced. The death of Gwen Stacy was the only moment where I felt, shit, this just got real for like 1 minute, and that's pretty much it. All the actors were wasted. Everybody's time was basically wasted due to Sony's meddling, and I don't know who pushed the writers to write the script this way and edit this stuff this way, aside from Sony themselves. I don't know truly how much fault it is on the actors, the writers, the director. I really don't know. All we know is Sony meddled too much, and we know that probably the script wasn't the best thing in the world. So all I know is it was the most frustrating movie-going experience for me as a big fan of Spider-Man. He's my number 2 favorite superhero of all time. I love the mythos. I love the storylines that have been brought to life by Sam Raimi before this mess of a franchise got going after that. So I'm not just bitching about it just to bitch about it. I truly love Spider-Man. I love the character so much. It's a shame to have been frustrated not once but twice now. I hope they step back, make better movies in the future, but right now I hope they leave Spider-Man alone. And that should do it for my worst of / disappointing movies of 2014. I hope you enjoyed my misery, so feel free to comment below. What are your thoughts on any of the movies I've listed? If you enjoy some of the movies, let me know why. Whatever, feel free to comment below. Thank you so much for watching all my videos this year. Check out my best of list and a slew of other videos on my channel right now. So thanks again for watching. I'm Anthony Flores with Worth Watch, and keep going to the movies.